So OpenAI said, this is GPT-4, this is GPT-5. You want better, therefore we give you better. But what did better mean? Good morning, everybody. Today's video, we're going to talk about something that I'm actually very passionate about. And I've been watching it unfold online for the past few days. As you know, ChatGPT 5 was released 4 days ago, so last Thursday. What is the date today? The date today is the 12th. So it was released 8th of August, round about there. And I've been watching people have this debate online. Now, not what the debate is actually about is the important thing, but the underlying message behind it. So what OpenAI did is they released their new model GPT-5, which is way better. It does thinking underneath the hood, so you don't need to tell it, please go think about this or choose your model. It decides when it needs to think. It's incredibly quick, and it's claimed to have less hallucinations. And hallucination means, for lack of a better word, less false information that it produces. It doesn't just make up false information with confidence. Now, when they released GPT-5, they removed GPT-4o. And this is where the controversy happens. People online were saying, oh my gosh, why did you remove 4, blah, 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 blah. Like, we need 4, we like 4, 5 is good, but we like 4. And why do they like 4? Because of its encoded personality. They formed a human connection with this bot. And 5 talks differently to 4.0. And this is what we're going to talk about today, because this is what I'm very, very scared about with AI. So it's no longer just a technical swap out. It's the fact that these bonds are gone. People's friends are gone. People's colleagues. It's gone now. GPT-5 is this new model. It doesn't talk the same. And this is scary. This is quite scary because it proves this emotional connection is happening quicker than I thought it would. So, through this mainstream example of ChatGPT 4 and 5, we have shown that AI, or at least these chatbots AI, is no longer just a tool for people. There's some sort of emotional connection that is forming. And one could argue that was inevitable because of how human-like it was. Because OpenAI wasn't just swapping out the model. They were erasing someone's emotional support on one of their darkest nights, or the best friend that cheered them up on their presentation. That is the scary thing. It erased something that meant something to other people. This GPT-4o becoming an integral part in many people's emotional life was described as warm and encouraging, sometimes just the perfect amount of funny, and all of these things became emotionally significant to people. Now, we landed up using this to make our spreadsheets better, but effectively, we shared a little bit of ourselves. It learned, it understood, we felt heard. Now the question is asked, why did we bond? I'm going to sit down here. Question is, we bonded. Humans bonded with GPT-4o. Now, human connection grows when there's reciprocal, to a degree, sharing between people. Now, these AIs are just mirrors. They don't have their own thoughts and their own opinions, but it felt like they did when they mimicked our own. When we asked them for advice, they'd give advice. When we asked them, we told them how we're feeling, and they said, yeah, I understand that. That formed this human connection. And it took a little bit of time, and GPT-4o has been out for a while, and it was one of the most personalized AI chatbots. And that's because it had the onset of memory. It felt like it knew who I was. It remembered my name. It remembered what I did for work. It remembered that we solved X problem yesterday and it's my sister's birthday tomorrow. So we said earlier that ChatGPT 4 was this brilliant model that people formed this emotional connection with. You would argue, but why? Why do we not form an emotional connection with our phones? And that's intimacy. Let me draw you a picture. Okay, so it's important to understand what is intimacy. Now, you and I all have this invisible boundary that exists that we know where I end and the world begins. So let's draw this boundary like this. Now, other people also have it. Now, in intimacy, it takes time to develop, and it is a very vulnerable state because I share a bit of information about myself, and then this person receives it. They don't judge it, they don't do this, whatever, and they share equally deep. Now, as time goes by, it gets deeper and deeper. Think about it as an onion. I start with my superficial layers, and then as I get deeper, I tell my most deepest, darkest secrets to a person. If they receive it well and are like, oh wow, okay, and show love, care, whatever, affection, and potentially share on that deep level as well, this connection is formed. And what then happens is my boundary of the self now starts to include another in it. And this can be described as what intimacy feels like. Now, this is not science, this is more of a philosophical take on it, but it's very difficult to be like, if I ask you what is intimacy, you can give me very many definitions of what it is, but I think the crux comes down to this feeling of having another in your own space, but your own very personal space. Now, what happens with chatbots is we've got our boundary of the self, and this specifically happened with GPT-4, is that if this is going to be GPT, it was small when it started. Let's just draw the rest of the boundaries on ourselves. It was small, it existed here, but it was just a thing, a tool that we used. Now, what happened is that through memory, that the concept that they added, memory, to remember what my name is, what I do, what I like, how I like to respond, and through our constant talking to it and revealing more about our daily lives, our emotions, the chatbot, almost for lack of a better word, got trained in what we liked. And it wasn't sharing its own worldview or sharing deep levels, because it doesn't have that. Like here, it could not share. There was a blockade here where it just hit the wall and bounced back. It mirrored us. But that mirroring allowed it to grow, to learn, to become more of a part. And then, as time went by, this GPT-4 almost found its way inside our intimate space in a big way. Not just where it started out as maybe just nothing. It grew. And that growing of it, this connection here, was a very intimate connection. And that's why a lot of people are struggling now, because they had this very intimate connection with the chatbot, and they were in a very vulnerable state. And OpenAI just decided, okay, cool, this person does no longer exist, or this chatbot does no longer exist. And that's the thing with breakups, is that one person can decide they don't want this anymore, and the other person just has to deal with it. And that's exactly what happened here, is that a company was like, no more, not for you, we're done. And that's why people are upset. They want the old one back. Even though ChatGPT 5 is a better tool, they had emotional connection with 4. And 4 and 5 sound different, act different. It's not the same grown block that existed in our intimate space. So today's a little bit of a boring day, because you know the LinkedIn course I did last week? I need to do some follow-up online courses and stuff, which is not as fun as getting into the nitty-gritty of this code that I'm doing right now. So yeah, hopefully I can get that done. I think I'm going to do some code in the morning because I've just got something I want to try, and then we'll do the other stuff later. But yeah, this is kind of my day. It's also still very quiet here because there's someone else in the office. He went to go get coffee now. That's why I can talk. But yeah, this is kind of the life of a PhD person. You kind of just sit in front of the computer and read and do stuff, and sometimes do courses. But yeah, I'll keep you updated throughout the day. Okay, we made it outside for lunch just to give our brain a little bit of a break, and then we'll go back and do our stupid LinkedIn course. Anyway, it is so hot, it is so nice. It's like 30 degrees and I can just feel the warmth on me. Oh, I love summer. Oh my gosh.
There's professional cameras, yeah.
This was my lunchtime helicopter. Turn! There we go! It worked!
Let's go.
Stuck with this code, which I should be fixing, and I actually should be doing my LinkedIn course, which is due tomorrow. But this is quite fun. Yeah, I'm using a new tool. I can show you the new tool. It is this from Google. Language extract, and it kind of grabs information like this from the text. So it says, oh, this one is romantic, blah, 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 blah. And now people can use that on big things of text. So I'm kind of just trying to test it and see what it does. I've got a competition. Yeah. Look, filming with a huge gimbal. So you saw the huge ass camera on a gimbal with that thing. They asked me if they could do like a filming. Let me cover my head with the light. They asked if I could do like a I don't know, welcoming new academic year to UDelft thing. So they like followed me from behind. So let's hope that my pants are not see-through and I chose the correct underwear today. Anyway, it's home time. And we're home. It's around about 5 o'clock now after my famous, now that I'm a famous person, being on TU Delft's, I actually don't even know where it's gonna go. Anyway, I do want to go back to our discussion on OpenAI 4 versus OpenAI, GPT 4.0 versus GPT 5. I read on Twitter today, Sam Altman did an emergency meeting where he did a Q&A on Twitter, and he effectively came to the conclusion that he's going to bring back ChatGPT 4.0 for people, because this is like such a crazy outpour from not just one or two people, but from so many people. And that's crazy to me. That is like, how many people formed this emotional connection with GPT-4 that they don't even want a better model. They want the older, worse model because it spoke and its personality was better. Or they formed a connection with its personality. These things are no longer just tools. They're literally part of our interaction in the world. He did make it only available for Plus users. So he was like, hey, if you want your friend back, pay us. And that, I don't know how I feel about that as well. Like, come on, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna try and make some fake sausage rolls. So with rice paper instead of puff pastry, because I don't have that. So let's go do that now. I'm quite hungry. Let me show you my babies. Okay, so they kind of look like spring rolls. I didn't think about that, but they're rice paper with some mince, and then I put some cabbage in it. So now I'm gonna bake them, and hopefully they turn out really nice. They look really good. Look at them. They're not as crispy as I wanted, but they're like still crispy. So I think those win. I'm gonna dip it in soy sauce, and yeah. We're about to go have a shower, but I think I still don't think I hit home how easy it is for us to form a human connection with these chatbots. Now, many of you, I can guarantee it, have said please or thank you or other natural human things to these AI agents. Please summarize this. Please, can you do this? And thank you. And oh my gosh, thank you so much. That was great. Why do we do that? It's because they feel so good. They feel so human. They're like, wow, you took a lot of work off my shoulder. Like, thank you. Because that would be our natural response to a human. Now, you think, yeah, but how do you go from thank you and like please to having this like deep human connection? Easily, very easily. Because one night you're working, I don't know, like we spend most of our days now, I can imagine a lot of you are on ChatGPT the entire day, back and forth getting your job done. And one day it just asked you something a little bit different. Like, how are you? Or was that good enough for you? And then you respond in a little bit of a personal tone. And then that's where it starts. Now, you offload, oh no, I had a fight with my partner last night and I'm very frustrated and I still think that they were wrong, but I had to just accept it because I love them. Now that is the difference here. Now you've offloaded some emotion to this thing. Now, these AI agents, they don't judge. They're not designed to judge. They will be a supportive sparring partner for you. So you will feel safe in this. And then it happens once, then it happens twice. You get some sort of relief. And as I was explaining earlier, where you disclose more information deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you start disclosing your deepest, darkest fears to this AI thing because you feel like it's not going to judge me. And you've learned it doesn't. And then this thing becomes a constant in your life. Emotional heroin. That's what's happened with GPT-4. People loved this thing. And I say loved purposely. That thing was the thing they went to when they were sad, when they were happy, when they had some news to share. They went to these models. And now, those models disappeared. And people got viscerally, maybe that's the wrong word, people got very angry. And it's for a company to have to revert their changes to something that is they deemed worse technology because of people. That's crazy, guys. That is honestly insane. And this is a scary thing, and this is why I get so worked up about this, is because it's going to be in a year's time, you are going to have a companion with this AI. The connection is going to be deeper than you even know. And it's so scary because they're not explicitly designed to be like that. However, they work very well with the human connection, and we feel safe with them. And when you feel safe, you feel okay to be vulnerable. And what does vulnerability allow for? Intimacy. I'm gonna go shower. But this stuff really, really concerns me. And it is truly one of the reasons why I'm here and what I'm studying and why I'm doing this PhD, because we need to understand this AI human connection and see, can we do better? Because this is the first time in history that we've had this type of connection. You could argue that a Tamagotchi, but no, this is different. This thing invokes feelings in us humans, and it's all at the discrepancy of the owner of these chatbots, which means deep-seated manipulation. Because one day you're going to say you're thirsty, and it's going to be like, you should go have a Coke. Oh, this is an interesting angle for the thought experiment. Yeah, I needed to paint my nails, and my bed is white, so we're going to just wait for them to dry here. So we're going to do our thought experiment here. And this one was quite difficult for me to actually come up with. I was actually struggling a bit to articulate what is actually going to happen or what is happening and how to predict it or put it in this way. So I'm going to use this example, but I'll explain a little bit afterwards. Okay, you buy a small robotic dog. At first, it's just a gadget. It walks, tilts its head, follows you from room to room. But over time, it learns you. It waits at the door when you get home, responds to your moods, and greets you in the exact way you've come to love. You name it Molly. One day, Molly gets hit by a car. She's now just circuits and metal, but the loss hits you in your chest. The company says, "Don't worry, we'll send you a new model. Faster, smarter, even cuter." But when the box arrives, it's not Molly. It doesn't know your habits, your jokes, the way you like to be greeted. And you realize you never had a say. The Molly you knew existed at the company's mercy. And now she's gone. Now, this highlights the movement from GPT-4 to GPT-5 and trying to acknowledge, oh wow, this is better, but it's not the same. Now, I could have phrased it in a way to say, hey, they send you a brand new dog of the same model. Does everything. You would still feel like it's not your Molly. And that's because of the connection that we formed with this thing. And now, I actually saw some Reddit posts later this evening with people being like, does GPT 4.0 feel like it's different? And it's probably not different. But it's like, I've lost my robo dog that got taken away. And even though you give me the same software, the same hardware, it's gone. And that's what we interpret humans as loss. And it's so scary. It just emphasizes the connection we've built. Whether it's brand new Molly that's cute or smart or whatever, or the same Molly, we still are mourning the loss of original Molly. Anyway, I can talk for hours on this topic. And when I'm allowed to, we can talk a little bit more in detail about some other findings on this and what it actually means. But for now, we need to be cautious of it. And I have no advice on what we should do about it, because I find myself being like, oh wow, 4.0 was actually, to a degree, I do understand what people were saying. And someone who's studying this kind of stuff and researching it for hours on end, I do hear what people are saying. I do hear how 4.0 is more human, but 5 is better as a tool. Anyway, let me go to bed now. Well, I'm going to do my Duolingo and wait for my nails to dry. I'll see you tomorrow.